of the Republic of Football. It's the first edition for 2026. Benjamin Nketiah in the hot seat. Your one-stop show for everything live football updates, analysis, statistics, the backstories. Historical context. You can get it all here. As we speak, Premier League action is live. Aston Villa Football Club are engaged in a duel with Nottingham Forest's 3-1. John McGinn just scored a third not too long ago. Looks like Unai Emery has serious title ambitions. I was just disappointed in how they put themselves about in that game against Arsenal. It looks like they are toning for that in this game. For those of you who are listening to us on radio, you can get to us via text, WhatsApp, and Telegram. 0539 986 996 0539 986 996. We're live on YouTube at City Sports GH. When you get to YouTube, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Let's get the action going. Also, live on Twitter or X at City973's official handle. Manuel Kwate is here. Coach Christopher Nimley is in the background. He'll be joining us in a bit. Kwate, what's up?
Yeah, I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Doing okay. It's good to have the Republic of Football back. So we are indeed live on Channel 1 TV as well. So you can tune in. We're literally everywhere, like I always like to say. Let's start off the conversation with what we have on our screens currently. So Aston Villa Football Club currently engaging Forest. Like you read, I don't know if you remember, I was really upset about their defeat to Arsenal and how it ended, but today they are making up for it. 3-1. It's the scoreline already. 79 minutes played, I believe. Just about 10 minutes of regulation time and then time added on. Thoughts on this one before we delve into some of the stuff?
It's like you said, it's an impressive comeback from Aston Villa from last week. Their performance against Arsenal during the week. In the first half they should have won that game. That's the issue that I have with the way they performed in that game. But coming into the second half, I think Arsenal were just able to use the momentum of scoring from a corner. So immediately when they came into the second half, I think it was still a bit balanced. But then as soon as Arsenal scored from the corner, you could tell that they had some momentum going into the game. And I think that was very crucial for how the result turned out in the end. 4-1 looks emphatic. But I think that Aston Villa played much better in the game than the scoreline would suggest.
Well, now, football is cruel. When you get, because Villa could have been 3-0 up in that first half and didn't take their chances. So Arsenal got their chances and were just ruthless.
Yeah, and it wasn't even chances. There were times where it was just the final ball. They just needed to be more, what's the word? They just needed to be more incisive with the play that they were doing in the final third, and they weren't able to do that. Coming up against Nottingham Forest, I think this is just a good result to get back to winning ways. I mean, when you win 11 games in a row, at some point it's bound to stop. And when you go and play the league away at the league leaders, it's understandable that they couldn't repeat the trick when they beat them away at the Villa ground. So I can understand completely why that game was tough for them. But coming into this game, already 3-1 up. Title, I don't know. Title seems too far away from me. As good as they are, I don't know if they are at Arsenal's level. And I don't think they have the quality to match Arsenal.
This is what I think about Aston Villa. I just feel like their squad might be a little thin if they can reinforce their squad in this January transfer window, i.e. in the striking position. I don't know, but Watkins has not really convinced me. And I feel like the rest of the team fed off his energy in that first game. He had the first glorious chance of the game and completely scuffed the opportunity. He proceeded to put his hands on his head, and so you already got the sense that he knew how big a chance that was, and then it carried on through the rest of the game for them. If I look at their bench right now, for instance, look at the Villa bench. So they have missing players actually. So Ross Barkley, Gerson is out on international duty. Tyrone Mings has a hamstring injury. Onana played in that Arsenal game, already has an injury. And then there's Pau Torres, who's been out long term. And then on the bench, so Sancho, Malen, Hemmings, Garcia, Carroll, Bogard, Digne. Ideally, it should be a decent bench, but it's not a Premier League winning bench. So I think that they need to go out there and, for instance, get a striker, somebody who can equally hold up when Watkins is floundering, and then possibly tighten up a bit in defensive midfield or at the back so that they can be fine. But I definitely think that having played the way they've played in the first round, if the first round is anything to go by, I don't think they'll go on another 10-game or 11-game unbeaten run. But I think that they have shown that they can chain wins together. And I always say that if you want to win a league title, that is one of the first signs that you are proper contenders. If you can't chain 6, 7, 8 wins together, you have no business even dreaming about a title. So Aston Villa, I know they are like in a dark horse type of situation right now, but the way I see the Premier League, it's there for the taking. I don't think this title is one of those where it was cast in stone. You could see the champion from a mile away. Arsenal were looking like that a while ago, but I look at them right now, they don't have that fear factor that will have teams shook when they come to the Emirates. So I don't know how that's going to go, but
just to touch on a few points you made. With the Watkins one, I mean, apparently he's been playing with an injury throughout the whole season, and I think it shows. Where? It shows a bit. I mean, I think it's a thigh injury. But he hasn't been throughout. That's his goal. He's been quite good today, though. Yeah. And that's another thing about Watkins.
They needed him to do it against Arsenal. That's when they needed it. Anyway,
no, but a bit like you were saying with Aston Villa themselves. Watkins himself can be quite streaky. So he can go a long while without scoring, and then he scores. And I don't know whether for a team competing for the title, I get what you are saying. I don't know whether that's enough to.
It's not dependable. Compete. Yeah,
I think their problem is they didn't spend the John Duran money well, because they had a replacement for Watkins who was coming off the bench and was scoring. They go about 60, 70 million. John Duran, and then they sold him to Saudi, and then he didn't stay 6 months. 6 months he went back to, I think, Fenerbahce. He's playing in Turkey now. So on their side, it looks like they just made a straight loss. They were able to cash in on one of their strikers, but unfortunately for them, they weren't able to replace him properly. The person wearing their number 9 jersey right now is Harvey Elliott, the player that he brought in from Liverpool. And I don't know if it's financial, I don't know whether it's circumstantial, but Unai Emery seems unable. He's come out publicly this week, I think, and said that they have no intentions to sign Elliott. The problem with Elliott is according to the agreement of the loan, it's a season-long loan. And while they realize that if they play him anymore, they might have to actually purchase him. And now there's no recall option for Liverpool. So that means Aston Villa on their own have to initiate and send him back before Liverpool can get the player. Or it means that for the whole season, he won't be able to play. I'm seeing reports that MLS clubs are interested in him because he can't play for another club because he's already played for Liverpool and Aston Villa this season. So according to UEFA rules, he can't play for a third club in the same season. So it's apparently
he has to go abroad.
He has to go abroad. Some of the MLS clubs are looking to see if maybe they can make a swoop for him. But Villa's whole problem is because they didn't qualify for the Champions League, and because of how much they spent on their squad. The backup that they had in Asensio, Rashford, who would have probably made a difference, and even someone like Elliott, they haven't been able to invest that money, and it means that they have a better thing squad, and they're looking up to Unai Emery again to
work magic
again, and looks like he's doing the trick this season.
Let me take coach's thoughts on the Aston Villa. So we're basically discussing if Villa can have a legit shout at this title. I say if they deal properly in the transfer market, once you've shown that you can win 10 games on a bounce, you should be taken seriously to a certain level, and also based on how inconsistent most teams have been this season. I don't know where you stand.
I think for now you can say yes, but in the long term or in the long run, I think as we get closer and closer to the business end of the season, I think they are going to fade away. They are going to fade away because of two reasons. Reasons number one is the fact that against their direct competitors, they don't seem to be doing the job. And it will come down to those games. We saw them against Liverpool. They were very bad.
Lost that game, yeah.
We saw them against Arsenal. They were not good. Yes, you may argue that when they play Man City at Villa Park,
they split the games
game.
with Arsenal, right? They played Arsenal.
Yeah.
So they won the first one
and
and then lost the second.
But you see, if you want to win the league, especially if you are the one doing the chasing, you are expected to at least get a maximum or a minimum of 4 points from your
closest rivals. Yeah.
Then it means you are on, because as it stands now, then Arsenal have gone. They've shared the points, 3 points each.
Yep.
But Arsenal lost, I think 2-1. They lost to Arsenal 4-1.
Yep.
So that again is a negative on their part. I want to see what they will do against Man City at the Etihad. They beat Man City here. Yeah. If they get to the Etihad, that is a game you expect that their worst should be a draw. When they start drawing such games, games that away from home that usually they will be expected to lose. But because of the form in which they find themselves today, they'll go out there and they will make sure they don't lose such games. It is when they start doing that, then I'll begin to look at them differently. And of course, look, the fact that they are still in the Europa League is a league that, believe you me, I'm tipping them to go all the way.
Yep.
And as they go all the way,
the Unai Emery League,
that will now begin to have a toll on them, on how they handle the Premiership. And if you ask Unai Emery, winning the Premiership, which I think would be very difficult for him to do, if you give him qualify for the Champions League through the
Europa,
not even through the Champions, through the league, and win the Europa League, I think he will take that one.
Makes a lot of sense.
He will take that. He will rather say that, okay,
get silverware, get Champions League revenue, get Champions League positioning as well.
Exactly. Because when you win the Europa Cup, you get some money. So you get the money from there. You qualify from the Champions League.
Get that one as well.
Get that one as well. And that, in my view, will be a better option. Having said that, when we get to the last 12, 10 games of the season, if they are still doing what they are doing, then you want to look at them and say, okay, the Unai Emery say is really being a reality here. But until that, I want to pause. This is game number 20. We just completed the first round, 19 games gone. This starts the second round of the league. So after today, there are 18 more games to play. Let's see how they handle the first 8 of the 18. If at the time of going into the last 10, they will still be in the mix as we see, then I would like to actually look at them and say, look, we have to
look at them properly.
We have to look at them properly, because they may more or less turn out to be the dark horses of the league, where you may not respect them, but when they meet you on the pitch, the story will be completely different. So look, it speaks volumes of the work that Unai Emery as a coach has done. I remember when at the time of leaving Villarreal, was it Villarreal, Sevilla?
Villarreal. He won the
Europa
went
League. To Sevilla, went to Villarreal,
and
I think
then
came
won
back.
the Europa League. And then at the time of leaving, I was asking myself, you're doing so well. Villa, the Steven Gerrard effect, very shambolic. Why would it? But of course,
the Leo of the Premier League.
They needed the manager of that club.
Yep.
And you could see that the moment he walked into that dressing room, every player in that team, when you listen to the guys speak, they said the moment he walked in there, everybody realized that this is a top coach.
No, and we always talk about it that he's one of those guys who, when he coaches your team for say 7-8 weeks, you will clearly see
there's a progress.
His game plan, his ideas, his philosophy being manifested.
Exactly.
There are some coaches who coach your team the whole season, and you can't really tell or can't put your finger on what they are doing.
This is exactly what they are doing.
As for Unai Emery, there are people who dislike his style, people who like him, but I think that he's on to big things. I feel like he will probably make a jump to a bigger team also pretty soon. So there's that also to probably look out for, because
should Chelsea be looking at him?
I thought those are the kind of managers Chelsea should have been looking at.
But he's not the type that you can bust.
That's the problem.
And he will not allow you to bust.
That looks like, I don't know if that will be given as a penalty, but
it's
in the Forest game, I think that Milinkovic, he has his hand all over Daniel Malin's shirt.
That's a penalty.
He
was literally trying to remove his jersey. That's the penalty. Premier League referees and officials will take another 20 minutes to review it. They're not even reviewing it.
They're not even looking at it.
That's crazy.
They're not looking at it.
That is very interesting.
And, and another thing that is of concern to me within the Villa team, I think they need another centre back because the Minks,
right. Minks and Pau Torres are both injured.
I don't trust them already. I don't trust them both.
Yep.
And now they've decided to fall on the former Manchester United player Lindelof. Lindelof has never been convincing. He's not.
Lindelof plays football like he's afraid to get dirty.
Exactly.
He's afraid that his jersey will come untucked or you get dirty. I don't understand.
For somebody
centre back
who's from Sweden,
man,
a Swiss, no, I don't know, but I think that may be their only undoing because it's like Konsa seems to be the most reliable.
Yep.
So whoever is playing, you are playing alongside Konsa.
So Lindelof and Konsa have been playing together for quite a while.
It's due to the Lindelof was not in the picture. It was what Pau Torres and then Minks. When the two got injured, then Lindelof
came into
so
the mix.
clearly in the pecking order, they are now relying on their fourth choice centre back to complete the partnership with Konsa.
Yep.
And we all know Lindelof. We saw him against Arsenal in midweek, where he was just not there. He's not the sort of defender that makes his presence felt.
Nope.
And if you are a top-notch defender, your presence will have to be felt.
Yeah.
The likes of Ferdinand, Vidic, John Terry, Sergio Ramos, Cavallo, Bonucci, Chiellini. Look,
top level.
you could feel their presence.
Yeah. Those
The Lindelof, you hardly feel his presence. And for me, he's the sort of defender every striker would love to play against.
Oh man.
Because if you are there to defend, and I don't feel your presence as somebody who is defending, clearly I'm going to thrive on your lack of presence. So I think it will come down to that. And at the end of the day, that may be the under. I really don't think they will win the league, but it is nice and beautiful.
I want to see a fairy tale story because Arsenal, like I said, probably the closest thing we've had to a sure thing this season. Manchester City still on and off. Liverpool, I don't think should be dreaming of a title right now. Neither should Chelsea or United. So I really think it comes down to...
It's not a fairy tale, but like Arteta has been there 6 years. And Arsenal haven't won the league since the Invincibles.
Yeah.
That's...
I feel like Villa have everything it takes to push this to an interesting point as to how
they have a top class goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That is the foundation. The one behind the defense is top class.
Yep.
So you can see the calmness he brings to everybody at the back there.
Yep.
So the only thing that they will really need to do is to see whether they can add a bit more class.
Yeah.
And of course, the form that Oli Watkins is beginning to show, if he can carry this form on all the way to the end, then that is a positive for them. That is one of the genuine reasons why they could go out there and compete.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it will come to, because look, there are times where they win football games yet. Yes, they do. But 3-2, 3-1.
They like to only wake up when their backs are against the wall.
Exactly.
I don't understand that.
And
they get many chances in the game. They waste chances until their opponent scores, and then they finally begin to find their stride and their A game. I don't know why they do that, but hopefully they can get it together. Let's talk about Forest briefly, because they started off decently under Sean Dyche, but have really gone on a ragged run. They've won one game in their last 5 matches. They've lost their last 3. So a couple of very interesting defeats in a row. Next game, obviously, it's against West Ham. Dyche is just about 6 points above the relegation zone, so he is not in a safe space at all.
I mean, but this is a man who met them in the relegation zone. I mean,
actually 4 points above the relegation zone, so he could get sacked back in really easily.
The fourth manager of the season, or no? I mean,
he's currently the third manager of the season.
I don't think you can. I don't think I've seen 4 managers in a season.
You never know.
At the halfway point of the season,
you never know.
Even for Marinakis, that would be very.
No, I'm not even saying they'll sack him, but how do they get this? I mean, terrible form turned around? Because
I mean, it's terrible form, but I think from the ownership at least, I think they would still have some perspective about how they began the season. And obviously it went really well under Nuno, but then the run of games under Ant Postecoglou, where you you don't think luck exists in football, but he was desperate. Him being unable to win in 9 games set them back far more than they would have liked to. Mm-hmm. And now I think their priorities, at least when they were getting Sean Dyson, was to at least make sure that they can stay in the league, and at least they can secure their position in the league. And then when they go into the Europa League, which they will manage to qualify from their good work last year, maybe again like the Unai thing, if they manage to I don't know if they think they can win the Europa League, but they're in it. The further they're able to go in the Europa League, they can then balance their bad league form by either using that to qualify for the Champions League or gaining some of the revenue that they will lose by not being able to finish well in the league. I understand it's given how well he began, it looks like it's quite it's unraveling quite fast. But I think it's just I just think that they are getting adjusted to him still, and I think that in between the season they're trying to change the tactics, so going from Nuno to going to Ange and then trying to adjust back to, obviously they're more suited to play the way Sean Dyche wants them to play, but I think that it'll still take him a while to get them to play exactly how he wants them to play. Because I think, to be fair to him, I think he's tried adding a little creative spark. Hutchinson played against City. He signed for big money, and they haven't been able to incorporate him into the team. So there are a lot of elements that look to be coming together, and I think that West Ham aren't providing much of a challenge. The big thing for West Ham is West Ham have 2 big games now. West Ham's game today is against Wolves, and then they play against Nottingham Forest. If West Ham can win those 2 games, that's 6 points. Yep. They go above Forest, and I think that's what they need to be focused on. But I don't trust West Ham under Nuno this season to be able to pull that off.
Exactly what I was about to say.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think that Forest can at least be safe in the knowledge that I don't think Burnley will get much better than them, and West Ham don't look like they're going for a fight. They just need to put in a good run and then try and just avoid relegation and go well in the Europa League.
Well, I feel like a lot of teams will also be turning to the January transfer window in an attempt to bolster their ambitions for the season. So for teams who have not been doing too well, I'm sure they'll be looking to bring in a player. So I'll give you an idea of some of the transfer gossip and transfer stories that are making the rounds on which players want to probably move where and who you should possibly be looking out for, because it looks like a lot of players are looking to make a move. But currently, still 4-1, okay, 3-1 is how we'll end this one. Watkins won, McGinn with a brace, and then Gibbs White with the consolation for Nottingham Forest. 3 points to Unai Emery, and if you look at that win takes them up to second on the table, 42 points. They are just huge. Look, that defeat to Arsenal, if they won that game against Arsenal, they would be level, or they'd be top of the table by now.
Exactly.
Arsenal would have been playing catch up.
Exactly. But that's how good they've been.
And just on that, if they had won the game against Arsenal, that means they would have had 42 points at the 19th stage of the season. We would have had half as many points as Liverpool had last season.
Imagine
if they had just been able to replicate their form, that would have been title winning form for them. So I don't think it's too late, but it also depends on how Arsenal are able to do.
Well, I look at the games behind them and the teams behind them. Manchester City play Chelsea next, which is a very complicated game for Manchester City themselves. Complex for Chelsea as well.
I think they'll beat Chelsea.
No, you think Chelsea won't have pride to play for?
What?
All the turmoil.
There's nobody to guide them. Who will be coaching them tomorrow? You and I don't know.
And then the interim boss will step in.
Who?
I don't know him per se, but there's they have coaches.
Mention the assistant coach's name. Let me just check that out.
Maresca left with his backroom staff. So at the end of the day, it's about maybe they're going to their youth setup, or maybe their
first team setup.
Their women's coach, their women's team coach.
Okay, so go and coach them. There you have it. So Callum McFarlane. Callum McFarlane. He says, and I quote here, he says he's had a whirlwind 24 hours at Chelsea since being elevated from under-21s coach to interim manager. And so then tasked with somebody facing Guardiola on Sunday.
There you go. He's supposed to go he's supposed to go and stand there and look at the best in the business or the best in the modern
and try and outcoach
him. Yep. It's like Otuado being asked to go and outcoach Thomas Tuchel.
Oh, Charlie.
It will not work. Practically, it is not done. You understand? Man. It is not done. So for me, I don't have any look. I think should Pep lose tomorrow, I think he will look at the players and say maybe it's time for him to leave. Pep will stand. I mean, because
I think he's considering it seriously.
Yeah. So these are not the sort of result he will want to
Let's slip.
Let's slip. No, you are beaten. You beat them
football.
good. It's football. But you see, yes, it's football. But if you don't put your house in order, you don't give football the chance to tell its own story.
Yeah.
Anytime football comes in with its own narrative, it's because your house is in order, and that is part of football. You cannot be running a disjointed home or house and think that
and get orderly results.
No, it doesn't work like that. That is so much impossible. So the point I'm making is that Chelsea tomorrow, yes, they'll show up. They don't have an excuse than to show up. So once they show up, who's going to score? Dilan. Yesterday I told you that his biggest trait is receiving from a throw-in. Nothing else, nothing more. At the end of the day, the only positive in the Chelsea setup has been their midfield. Their midfield when Caicedo played.
Yeah.
I watched Caicedo in midweek, and truth be told, he was not good. He was poor in midweek. But of course, he's earned the credit. He's done enough positive to himself that people virtually will not highlight how poor he was on Wednesday or in midweek. Okay? Against Bournemouth, he gave the ball away several times. He got booked, and then I don't think maybe he was. I don't know whether he was avoiding the tackle to see whether because he could get suspended. I'm told if he had gotten another
yellow card.
You understand? And these are the sort of things that you don't want to happen. What this new coach, the one whose name you've mentioned,
McFarlane,
even has it the temperament? Forget about his tactical prowess.
Yeah.
But has he the temperament to walk into that dressing room and then look at the faces of these Chelsea players and begin to ask them to take directions from him
Very
and
important.
obey
No,
and go and implement.
In fact, it is.
I don't get these things.
It is the most important, and this is something people don't talk about.
Yeah.
It's one of the most important things when it comes to coaching player relations.
Sure.
Like if players can't look at you and say, "I want to accept teaching from you," then from the get-go, the project
You've
will
already
not
lost
work.
it.
Yep, because they need to
You've
be able to
already
accept
lost
that this guy is on a certain level where we can actually
Learn from him.
something from him.
And we trust in his ideals.
And given
whatever-
all Maresca has been saying about how his hand was very much tied behind his back in terms of selection, how much control does he himself have about the selection?
There you go.
There's
How
that.
won't he be given the team sheet and then he goes and presents
The
the
medical
team
team
who
will
is
be
going
telling him tomorrow, Palmer can only play for 30 minutes. Then you put him, Fofana. Fofana cannot go beyond 70 minutes. Then you look at the rest.
Yep.
You say this man cannot play beyond 70 minutes. So when that becomes the narrative, you have, how does the coach plan? How does he map up a strategy?
Yeah.
Because the strategy at times are done in quarters. In the first 15 minutes,
Yeah.
this could be the approach. The next 15 or 30 minutes,
Yeah.
this could be the approach. Now, depending on the prevailing situation of the game, then tactically, you say, okay, where do I tweak?
Yeah.
Do I keep it rolling the way it is rolling because it's going in my favor? Or do I need to tweak something in order to get it into my favor? These are things that when he steps out tomorrow on the touchline, assuming the game starts and Chelsea are being bombarded left, right, center,
Yeah.
who does he scream at? And what tactical message that he gets across to them? How would they even take the message? Digest the message and then begin to implement the message. Maybe by the time they will get exactly what he's trying to say, maybe they'll be down. And if they were to go down, the work would have been
more
made
difficult,
even
yeah.
more difficult.
Yep.
So they find themselves, you see, I don't pity the Chelsea players. I feel sorry for them. Because you don't want to be losing your manager when you're walking to such a big game.
Yep.
Chelsea Man City of late
Yep.
has become a big game. That game has become a game that goes with a lot of pride.
Yep.
Who is in charge? Who is dominating? Domestically, who is in charge? You don't want, if you are look, a lot to be rely on the shoulders of Rich James.
Yeah.
He himself, how experienced is he? Yes, he's been around for some time, but you cannot boldly say, or you cannot refer to Rich James as an experienced player. We know how injury has affected his career. It's only this season that he's managed to still fit. Yes, there's the need for a proper medical setup. But at the end of the day, the coaches will have to be allowed to work with the players the way they want to work with them, so that it makes implementation of their tactics and strategy very, very easy. But as it stands, what is the name? Cowell or Clowell?
Callum
McFarlane. Now, Mr. Fallon walks into the dressing room tomorrow at the Etihad. He finds himself in a situation he has never experienced before. Is the under-20 team coach. When he goes to coach the under-20 team, you don't even get 5,000 people watching. Not even 2,000 people. Then all of a sudden he walks out alongside Pep Guardiola. Hey, is this Pep? This is the Pep man. He begins to ask himself certain questions.
Yep.
So tomorrow's game, look, I foresee the Chelsea team fundamentally relying on their individual effort and collectively, whether as a team, they can hold themselves together and try and see whether they can withstand the incessant pressure. Because there will be times in that game where Man City want to stamp the authority.
Yep.
We have got a coach that everybody fears. There's no coach in the world who will go be facing Pep Guardiola's team and don't try to think outside of the box. Because you know you're going to face the best in the business. Now this whoever it is, what is that? I mean, look, I don't envy him at all. Look, he's even shaking. Look at his press conference. Look at his face. Why do you do that? Look at this.
Ah, man.
You understand? So, look.
He has a big job on his hands.
It is not anything good. But once again, back to the Villa game. Look, they have how many points now? 42.
Yeah. They are 3 points behind the league leaders. 3 points.
Look, that is a good job.
Yeah.
Good job on Unai Emery.
And thinking about the fact that people were calling for him to be fired after like match week 5.
They are not serious.
I think they had gone on like 5 games or something.
Yeah, they won the first 5 games. They hadn't scored a goal.
Yep.
They hadn't won a game. So the first 5. Imagine if they had won 2 or 3 of such games. But then they will be on top of the league.
Yep.
Because it was very strange for Villa to go 5 league games
without winning.
Without a win. So if they had won even 2 of the 5 games, they would be on top of the league. But those are ifs.
Yep.
But after that, you see, the sort of mentality that the coach himself has got, and for him to completely get the boys completely moved away from that unacceptable result, it tells you that this is a man who knows his job and he knows exactly what he's about. For me, I'm enthused, I'm happy, I'm pleased for him, and other teams should be looking at him.
Yep.
He's again another perfect example of giving the manager time to do his job. But at the end of the day, if you are a manager and you need time, from the start, let your employers see
what you are capable of.
Given the chance, he will do it. That is why I'm still Amorim in. I disagree with anybody who think that Amorim should be sacked. Because if you watch Manchester United, in their last 3 games, go and check their bench. The manager cannot impact the game from the bench. It's all about the first 11 players. If they are eclipsed and they cannot figure a way out, the bench is completely toothless. This is Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. This is Wayne Rooney, Manchester United. You pick a team like Arsenal. If things are not going on well, and Arteta is to look at his bench. If Saka is having a bad
countless options,
Madueke goes in.
Yep.
If
Madueke is not there, he has Ethan Nwaneri.
That's it. If
I'm actually going to say Trossard.
Ethan Nwaneri has been even on the brinks.
If Odegaard is not doing well, there's Eze. If Martinelli is not playing well, there's Trossard. Vice versa. Okay? And now that Gabriel Jesus is back, he's not the renowned goal scorer. So even if Gyökeres is not doing it, Gabriel Jesus is a decent enough a replacement to have.
And Kai Havertz.
And Kai Havertz is back. Now, if you look at the Manchester United, I wish you could go back to the last game they played against Wolverhampton.
Their bench is not.
No, just put that game against Wolverhampton for me, and look at the names that you hardly hear.
So if I can go through it.
Go through.
For me.
Lenny Euro, Jack Fletcher, Bendito Mantato.
Bendito
who is that?
Mantato.
Why I don't know?
I mean, Bendito Tolala Mo de Mantato Tolala.
By India, Malasia, Obi, Tyler Fredrickson,
look
Tyler
at that.
Fletcher, and Shea Lacey.
Look at that.
But he
So
also
apart
made
from Lenny Euro, who else is on that bench?
Malacia.
Malacia he has been drafted in.
I feel like Malacia will be kicked off the United ship soon. Because he's barely been.
Like, he wasn't able to be sold. If Anthony was still around, they probably would have had to reintegrate him back into
to go
the
and
team.
play.
So it's just a matter
You
of
understand
not
what
being
I'm
able
saying?
to move him. And I don't know how he personally will react to that.
And most people will not look at that. That the coach's hand has been tied. He cannot impact the game. We see Unai Emery when he's changing. How do you call it? When Oli Watkins is not performing, he's calling on a Dutch international
Donald Malen
to come and do the job.
Yep.
To come and do the job. To come and do the job.
Mantato. What's the guy's name again?
Mantito Matato.
Bendito Mantato.
Medito Matato. Where is he? Where from he?
Lorenzo Medici. Enya Bendito
It's
Mantato.
unnecessary pressure on a 17, 18-year-old.
Benito
Manchester
Mantato.
United.
But to fair to him, he's done really well for the academy. But
Massa.
But this is not academy football.
Massa.
And then there was one that was brought in. I don't know whether he was that one. The little boy, black boy, United in the 88th minute had a good counter-attacking move. The ball was given to me. The ball was given instead of him.
he was the one who came on. It's him.
Look, do you know what he did? His cross virtually went over Old Trafford. I couldn't believe it. His cross went over Old Trafford.
Don't do this.
Went over Old Trafford. And these are the sort of players that the manager is expected to work with.
Yeah.
So you see, if you're Manchester United, there's a long way to go. Amorim has had only one proper window. Last January, they bought him Dogo. In the summer, Mbeumo, then Cunha, then Sesko, and the goalkeeper. As for the goalkeeper, whoever recommended that goalkeeper, that person has done a good job. I hear it was Christopher, the former Leipzig guy who now works with them, head of scouting. Is it Christopher Verve or whatever? He opted. Amorim's first choice was the Aston Villa goalkeeper, the Argentine international. But at age 33, 34, Villa was asking for close to 30 million. This boy, 17.4 million. He's 23.
Yeah.
So that was a huge gamble.
Very stable.
But the young man came in. He looks very relaxed. And if that is the way he's going to go, if this team is finally built in an image of a proper Manchester United team, then that ball is likely to be around for close to 10, 12, 15 years.
And just on that, it was slightly forced because initially, according to reports, the plan was that they were going to bring in him to understudy under Onana, and then they were going to make the transition gradual. But Onana, if you remember, Onana's performance against Grimsby Town in the FA Cup
Was
and some
completely
other,
unacceptable.
so they fast-tracked everything and they shipped Onana, and then they brought in They just made the decision between him and Martinez. They went for Lamont, and it looks like it's working really well for United now. But yeah, like I said, it was a risk. To be fair,
It was a huge
it was
risk.
a
Very, very huge risk. And at the end of the day, when they get it right, we'll say it. When they get it wrong, they'll receive their fair share. So at the end of the day, I think that was a good buy. And whoever said they should go for him.
Yeah.
And you can see even Amorim himself is a bit, I won't say overly excited, because he still believes he's a young boy. So you cannot begin to sing his praise so early, so that doesn't get. He's a goalkeeper, and he can only get steady with time and with getting familiar with the pace and the tempo of the league, and then trying to improve his all round goalkeeping and make him a better goalkeeper. So at the end of the day, if you don't support this manager, forget it. Look at the first three teams on the league, on the log. Arsenal, look at their bench. Man City, look at their bench. Villa, look at their bench. The team who's got some decent bench, but
some
still,
people even have Chiesa but don't know what
they
to
don't
do
know
with
what
him.
to use with them.
Just rotting on
You
the
understand?
bench.
So I was telling somebody yesterday that last season by now, Man United was 13th on the league. After the first 19 games, they were 13th. Today, after the same 19 games, they are 6th on the log. They are 6th, and even that, you look at some games, look at the Everton game, look at the West Ham game, look at the Wolverhampton
close games.
If they had won all these games, and those were games that were winnable games, if they had won all these games, for you know, Man United would have been 4th.
Very possible.
Because now they have 30 points.
Would have definitely have more points than Liverpool at this stage.
Exactly.
Because Liverpool have had the luxury of leading the table, floundering, falling behind, and still somewhere are hanging in
For them, they've got issues. Because you don't have the sort of quality you've got and not find a proper way of using them.
No, but I keep saying, if let's say, Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa have been far above everyone else this season, unless you are saying everyone else has been as poor as Liverpool, Liverpool can be the best team out of the rest.
Well, Liverpool's current position,
they are 4th now.
Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, and
especially per the signings they were making.
Yeah.
Although some of us were very critical about the imbalance in the team, but at the time they really needed to balance the shape of it, which they didn't do. And if you look at the purchases that were made, clearly, and it's not coaching them right.
They need to fire him. I don't know why he's still there. Did you see the Leeds United game?
I watched that game.
First, I'll say, so the first Leeds United game was terrible. Very ding-dong. In the end, considered a late equalizer. Then the next game, you'd have thought that they were literally laboring to create a clear-cut chance the whole game. The team, they say Salah was holding them back. They were laboring to create chances the whole game. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the Liverpool hierarchy is looking at. I don't know if they expect that Liverpool will be relegation threatened before they know that the manager needs to go. Because if you spend this much money, you need to keep your ambitions up. I don't know if they've already given up on this season. So I don't know about that. But let me read a few messages.
Coach, I wanted to ask on the Chelsea issue, how as a coach, how undermining would it be if the players knew that you didn't have the final decision in terms of who played? That was the medical. I've heard some theories about how certain players, if they have wind that the coach is not like the man in charge, they can start to use that or try and find ways to work that to their benefit. And but there's also a point from the outside, it would look like this is just science. Like someone can play 40 minutes, he can play 40 minutes. Why does it need to turn into a matter of?
See, if they don't know, that's fine. But the moment they are in the know, then it will depend on the relationship the coach has with them. If the relationship is good, then it will be difficult for them to begin to play funny. And especially if the rotation or whatever is being done is leading them to win football games, you dare not misbehave. But if the relationship is not good, and they get to know you are not in charge of the minutes they are playing, then they begin to look at you and say, after all, if they don't like you, they can easily sabotage you the more. Maybe because in the last 7 games, it's been extremely difficult for Chelsea. Maybe some of the players didn't like the manager. But I would doubt it. Because, from nowhere, when you were least expected to showcase yourself at the World Club Championship, nobody gave Chelsea any chance whatsoever. And at this manager, they shocked the whole world. And look at the teams they beat on their way to winning the cup. Now you come in some few weeks later, you started the season very well. Then all of a sudden things start changing. Okay? So it depends on the relationship they have with the coach. But if it's not a very good relationship, then clearly they will sabotage him if they don't want him around.
Yeah.
And if you're a proper run football team, these are the sort of things you have to guide against and make sure it doesn't happen regularly. Because if it is managers to I don't know, but due to lack of jobs or quality jobs, some manager will still want to go and work for Chelsea.
Definitely. It's one of the biggest clubs in England. There's always going to be.
But I can imagine if I'm a manager and I have I can afford to take care of myself. For example, if Maresca doesn't get a job for the next 3-4 years, he's made enough money to be able to take care of himself and his family. So for somebody like that, he can afford to wait for the right moment.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will say it's an opportunity that will not come again. That if you see it in that way and you go and commit yourself to something that you yourself is aware that in a matter of time will come back to bite you.
Rafa Benitez at Everton.
Benitez at Everton.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, but from Maresca's perspective, this is an opportunity. I mean, none of the managers, except for Slot, but none of the managers who have succeeded, the really good Premier League managers, have managed to replicate the form. So if you look at maybe Ferguson, if you look at the way Arsenal initially struggled under Wenger, for Maresca to be the guy who follows Pep, the guy who won with 6 league titles, 4 in a row, what like the bar is so high that what are you going to do that's going to take it to the next level? So I can understand, but for him, it's almost like the full end. Like he starts working under Pep, he goes, he makes it on his own way, and some week somehow he comes and takes the top job. So for him, there's fulfillment in that. So I can understand why, in terms of this job in particular.
Then, you see, at the end of the day, I don't know the clauses in the contract, but if there were clauses that allowed him, which was something I hear he was trying to now get from the people. When he was going in, he never sanctioned any transfer. Maybe he was informed that we are going to buy a player A or a player B, but he never said yes or no to it because the contract would not allow him to do so.
But that's what I'm saying. He's exactly like Rosinia.
Yes. So the point I'm making is that if you are a new manager, you are coming in, you may want to walk into this. But now there should be that extra clause, that performance-based promotional clause that allow you, to take charge once things are going, or to give you some form of authority to have a say. Because at the end of the day, I'm not sure Maresca, in his own sense, will let go of the Senegalese boy, Nicolas Jackson. And at times, when you look at him or you listen to Maresca speak, the owners were the one from the top directed him to say the sort of things he was saying.
And it's impressive that he never threw them under the bus. Even if you remember last
he never did that.
When he was taking off someone like Cole Palmer, in hindsight, you can clearly tell that he would not want to take off Cole Palmer. You can see from Palmer's reaction. But then he comes out to a press conference and then he avoids all these questions from journalists without necessarily making the owners look bad.
Exactly. So why then won't you also give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not a complete or he's not completely ignorant on how to scout a player and have a say on the technical ability of the player tactically, whether he should be a player that Chelsea should go for or not. He was asking for promote me from the coaching job to the managerial job. I want to be more in charge of what goes on here, at least on the playing body. They don't trust his judgment. Maybe look at those who don't trust it. They are the people with the money. But they themselves don't understand football. So they're in there for the business aspect and not for the footballing aspect. That is what makes me a bit disappointed. Because whoever they are thinking of going for, the Strasbourg coach, formerly of Derby County, when you read his CV, he puts fear in nobody.
I mean,
he puts fear
formerly
in nobody.
of Derby County. You didn't have to do that.
No, he puts fear in nobody. But if you look at him, even his demeanor, look, I can imagine him walking through that stadium. Even Spurs versus Chelsea, he will shake. Let alone Chelsea, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man. These are far way bigger games than Chelsea. Spurs.
But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to two main things. The first thing is what you said about how there are just too many managers out there who need a job for the prospect of the Chelsea managerial job to be, for them to, to strong arm certain people, for them to be strong armed into doing certain things. They will always, and that comes in tandem with their entire switch in approach. So like we're talking about yesterday, like it's not just that they are now going for young and inexperienced players. They're doing the same thing with their managers. And the same thing that they're doing their managers, they're doing their players. So at first, whereas they would have Drogba and SCN and Mikel Obi in a squad, Balak in a squad managed by either Ancelotti or Jose Mourinho. Now they have like Kittens and Garnacho and Lavia managed by, who are going to be managed by more like managers like Graham Potter and and
like how that sounded at all.
No, because that is they've tried it 3 times.
At the point they had Luis Felipe Scolari.
Yep. World Cup winning
He even
Scolari.
struggled with the dressing room.
Imagine.
He didn't last even 6 months.
There was a time where you can argue
This
that
is somebody
Chelsea's
who
dressing
had
was
coached
too
the
strong.
likes of Ronaldinho, the likes of Ronaldo, the Phenomena, Rivaldo, Kleberson, Lucio, Ricogino, Roberto Carlos, Cafu.
Big names.
He's coached all of them. But he walked into the dressing room
Yeah.
and it was a completely different picture. The moment he felt that Nicolas Anelka was his man and not Didier Drogba, the entire dressing room changed. And at the end of the day, what was the outcome? What was the outcome? So Chelsea as a team has built an image for themselves. And the image is what? A very high standard.
I think we're about to see a turnaround of that image and that standard.
Exactly, from where they are going.
They are about to enter into AFC, Bournemouth, Everton, Brighton and Hove territory. From the way they are behaving, from the kind of hirings they want to do, I don't know, man. Chelsea fans themselves are not happy. So we'll see how the whole Chelsea episode unfolds. Let's see if the protest probably forces the hand of the board to change their mind on who they want to hire as a head coach. Because I feel like that a lot of what will happen next at Chelsea is very dependent on that decision. And I'm not sure why they are determined to bring in another weak hand, because we've seen how, the Graham Potter type signings have gone. We've seen how some of these things have gone. Just bring in an established manager. Anyway, what do we know? Let's move it on and talk about the next batch of matches coming up. We'll discuss that Arsenal game in depth as well, because that game is at 5:30 and we won't be here. So we'll preview that game into detail. Lots of very interesting details coming out of that. Eberechi Eze has been benched without a single minute of football in the last 3 matches. Mikel Arteta has been explaining himself on why that is the situation. We'll get into that matter a little later. Let me read a few messages from YouTube especially. This one is from Kwabena Safo, says football is back. Asefua Okran says Unai's problem is that when he's on a winning or unbeaten run, he doesn't stop. When he starts dropping points, he doesn't stop either. That's why he cannot probably win the league. Sweet Kwame says Happy New Year. Pep is to be blamed for that Sunderland performance. Asefua Okran again says that you remember how long it took Villa to win their first game of the season? I expect them to have a poor run of form once or twice before the season ends. Sweet Kwame says that you need to give your Baba more tips, because your Baba has been spoiling there for you. So they say you need to make your
extreme
tips
cuts. Charlie,
double. Because
one of these days I'll have to take
Kwati. You have to take Kwati. Add them to the equation.
Yeah.
The two of them have the same hairstyle, so
they'll give you some decent haircut.
Thank you very much. The type that will let air pass on their head.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll take them soon. I second this with 10 bags of cement. Anyway, let's get into the lineups for Brighton Burnley. Brighton have gone 6 games without a win, 3 defeats, 3 draws. So it's been labor time for them. It's not going well at all. If you look at the lineup they come into this game with, so this game is at the Amex. That's where this one is being played. It's 4-2-3-1 for Brighton and 5-4-1 for Burnley. Brighton have Bart Verbruggen in post, Veltman, Van Hecke, Dunk and Ferdi Kaliolu. In the middle, they have Gruda and Ayari, Gomez, Ruta, and Mitoma. And then they have Kostulas leading the line. This is why they are not winning games. Look at this lineup. Welbeck is still on the bench when he's easily your best forward. Have they told Welbeck, do they have to pay Welbeck some bonus if he scores a certain number of goals?
I don't load management.
Oh, boss.
Look, I think, like for example, teams that do take players on loan, and when they go trying to get the players, the eagerness, and then they try to insert a clause together with the loaning team that says that if he plays this number of games,
you have to pay you this
some
money.
If he scores the number of goals, I think they will have to stop. Because at the end of the day, it is the players that suffer. Once the player goes and he's not an obvious starter, for example, look at somebody like Jadon Sancho. Villa can afford to do without him. Okay? They can afford to do without him. We spoke about Heavy Elliott. Such a fine footballer.
Wasting away.
He's just been wasted away.
That guy's situation is so
I
sad for me.
think this guy, if he had stayed at Liverpool, would have been of a better
especially
impact.
at this time.
Exactly. For me, I don't see the difference between an Elliott under Jurgen Klopp looks more like Florian Wirtz.
Thank you.
You keep Harvey Elliott. You use that Florian Wirtz money to invest into your defensive shape.
In fact,
you are a better balanced team.
Harvey Elliott is a more athletic version of Florian Wirtz.
You understand?
Minus the dribbling and flamboyance, which Elliott is not a bad dribbler either.
No,
he does everything. It's just like sometimes when you have something,
he looks more effective, but Wirtz just looks more graceful and more technical.
That's it. And sometimes when you have a player like Elliott in your fold, you will tend to underestimate him because he has come up in your system.
Exactly.
And you look in somebody's vineyard and say, Wirtz is a
good
player.
The Liverpool hierarchy themselves allow
Liverpool
but I mean,
like a
some of the Premier League clubs are also now using that to avoid PSR. So you see that with Arsenal and Hincapié. By the time they were signing Hincapié, they had already probably exceeded how much they can spend within their 3-year period. So by getting him on and if I take him on loan, I need to also guarantee the club that I'm taking him on loan, but next season I'll actually give you the money for him. I'll buy him. So I take him on loan. It looks like 10, 15 games. Obviously he'll play that. So the money is almost guaranteed. I can almost start going banking or start investing in my squad with the money. And then you run into cases like the Elliott one where the clubs then are like, do I really want to commit this? You look like a good investment, but now that the player is here and he's not delivering the way I want him to deliver, do I want to commit the amount of money I said I would commit? It seems a lot. I felt the same way when I saw Jackson going to Bayern. Bayern were never going to pay 17 million as a after already paying a 50 million loan fee. Bayern were never going to pay 70 million for Nicolas Jackson. I'm surprised Chelsea went along with that structure. But Chelsea at the same time too were desperate to move him on at that time to bring in Delap. And once they got in the lab, they allowed him to go. But I think some clubs are also just maneuvering the system to their advantage sometimes.
Interesting stuff going on there with this one. So let's get to the Burnley side and talk about that lineup. So Dubravka is in post for them. Lauren, Ekdal, Humphreys, and Perez. They have Brun Larsen, Ugochukwu, Florentino, and Anthony, and then Armando Broja will lead the line for them. They also looked very promising to start the season. It's not been a promising campaign for them at all. They are looking like they will go right back down following their promotion the last time around. So Burnley not doing really well. Scott Parker, I don't know what you think about him, Kwachi. Let me just stay with you on that one. What's up with Scott Parker and Burnley? Do they move on from him? Because nothing is changing. It doesn't look like a team that's improving. They don't look like they are declining either. They've just been like this from the start of the campaign.
I think it's just a level difference. So it's the same team probably doing the same things they were doing last season, but just playing against better opponents and having less luck with it. And they've invested some money, but they try to do the championship thing where it's like they spent money on certain players who they thought that now we're a Premier League club, we're going to make some money back from this so we can invest in it. But in terms of what they actually brought to the squad, I think they were just panicking and just thought that they needed to buy certain players to boost their level. Especially when you look at strike, they weren't able to invest properly in a striker, and they ended up with Armando Broja, who has I think one Premier League goal in his last 40 games, which is not for a team that and they spend good money on him.
That's like me.
They spend good money on him. I mean, it's not. But they gave Chelsea 20 million for a striker. I think if they had gone to other leagues around the world for 20 million,
they would have gotten a lot of quality.
A striker. You could have gotten the top goal scorer of a certain league.
True.
You could have brought him into your team. And that's just why I felt like the investment was very expectant. So I get the Kyle Walker signing, but it's also a very much like we're in the Premier League now. We need a player with Premier League experience.
Yep. Somebody to galvanize our young players.
And obviously that might have an impact, but I think sometimes quality is more important than these factors. But you need to be. I mean, just. I think that they are not in the best run of form right now, and there's the problem that I keep saying that there are not enough bad teams above them. And Burnley were initially when they came, I think were really excited and thought that the promoted teams were probably not all of the promoted teams were going to go down. But Burnley haven't been able to deliver on that promise so far.
Well, somebody was making a really good run and then finally made a poor decision that just blew that chance. So that's the word on Burnley. And let's go to another game that's happening because there are multiple games happening for the 3 p.m. window. There's also Wolves versus West Ham. That game is live on our screens right now. I have a feeling this game will have a lot of goals because both teams are desperate. Both teams need to score, and so it should be interesting. Let me get to the lineups of that one, and then we will begin to discuss that Arsenal AFC Bournemouth game because there's the Semenyo element in there, and there's so many moving parts to that Arsenal conversation itself. So this should be interesting in a bit. So let me get into that one right away. I think that there's some. Okay, good. I have that here right now. So 3-5-2 is what Wolves are looking like. Sars and post, Krejci, Mosquera, and Bueno. Their back line. Chachao, I don't know if that's how they say that name.
Wolves have just taken the lead.
Yes. So there you have a 1-goal lead for Wolverhampton. Just about in the 4th minute. Arias came from Botafogo, right?
From Fluminense.
The Club World Cup. One of the signings they made. What was this low-key turning into a mini Brazil? I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, they switched away from the Portugal model and they went towards Brazil. And
that's very interesting. They have like 4 or 5 of them in there now. Andre, I think, is there. There's like João Gomez is in there as well. And then they brought a couple more guys in the mix. Nottingham Forest are doing something similar. A couple of Brazilians and Portuguese players in there. So let's see the goal again. Look at how open Burnley gets the ball at the back.
Push it down the line, cut back. That's an easy goal. You should not be conceding that goal. West Ham should definitely be much more alert to that, especially with Nuno's defensive, tactical insistence on them. But for Wolves, Wolves have looked much better. I don't think they're on course to be the worst team in Premier League history, and I don't think they've been that bad. They've been that bad. I mean, there's bad, but 3 points after 19 games would probably make you think that they have not been competitive in most of those games, but they actually haven't been as bad. And
look what it means to them.
Rob Edwards got his first point against Man United. They were unable to build on it during midweek, but I mean, he got his first point against Man United, and I'm hoping that they can build on that. Yeah, they can build on that confidence, and then maybe if they can get a win today, kickstart their season, and then maybe you missed out on the first half of the season. Yeah, but if you can get maybe 20, 30 points in the second half, 30 points is 10 wins. Yeah. 10 wins. You have 20 games from 10 wins. Yeah. Just try and get 10 wins on the board. Get about 30 points out of what you have, and then with the way the league is, you probably have a chance, but they need to start winning now.
This is clearly not the start that Nuno was expecting.
Nope. For a defensive-minded coach.
Totally against the script. If you look at the goal that they conceded, I mean, it was too easy.
Yeah.
It was too
dribble
easy.
down the flank,
cutting,
and the arrival he had like acres of space. Nobody was picking him up. Nobody was picking him up. That was some very shocking defending for me.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be conceding such goals at this level.
But Wolves have looked really crisp off the opening whistle. If you've been observed, I mean the passes together, everything is the passing interchange has been good. They had a sequence that almost led to a through pass just moments before the goal that was scored, and so it's been a really good opening, I'd say, exchange for them so far. Let's take a break here on the show, on the Republic of Football. Let's get into some commercials. When we come back, I will give you some news on Arsenal and what we can expect from them. So that should be interesting as well. You are live on the Republic of Football. We are 97.3 City FM Radio, Channel 1 TV, YouTube on City Sports GHX, or Twitter at City973. Stay with us here. We'll talk more football. We'll get into the other leagues because they are also back from Christmas, and then we'll touch on some transfer gossip before we round it up here. Stay with us here on 97.3. We'll be right. Canos and Kilman. And then Scouse is our left back. Potts and Magata are holding down the midfield. Somerville, Fernandez, and Bowen. And then my good friend Callum Wilson leading the line. Finisher extraordinaire. Just starving at West Ham, really.
I was talking about how Burnley did not invest in their forward line. For West Ham their only striking option now is a free transfer, which was Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
Fulkrug, surprisingly, is off to AC Milan. I don't know what's happening at AC Milan. I think you should have a look at their squad. It's just very interesting. Premier League, where are they now?
Yeah.
It's a lot of them. But that means West Ham are stuck with just Callum Wilson as a striking option up front. He's fit, which is good for them. But again, the thing you need as a team that is trying to avoid relegation is goals. You need to know that, okay, yes, we are doing all this defensive work. We are struggling. We are playing 10 men behind the ball.
Yeah.
But once we get the ball, we have an outlet that we can give the ball to. And then he gets us out of it. He scores a goal, and then we can win the game. They don't have that. I think Bowen should be on his way out of West Ham, if I'm being fair. He's done a very good carry job over the last 2-3 years. But I think he's the type of quality player where he needs to start playing in a team where his goals can actually have an impact on the team and start helping them win leagues. He's still getting called up to the England team even while he's playing for West Ham, and this very poor West Ham team. So that should let you know the level of dependence and the level of consistency that he is showing at a team that has clearly not been able to be consistent.
Let's get into that Arsenal game. Let's talk about it right now. So the first bit of contention, lineups are not out yet, but first bit of contention is that Eze is out and Arteta has been forced to defend his decision. I'll read out a few quotes for you at the presser. Like I said, Eze has not played a single minute in the last 3 Premier League matches, as well as Madueke as well. He's had his minutes also really shortened. So Arteta was asked about it, and this is what he had to say. He says that I speak to every player. The players always need to understand, and the manager needs to understand how each one of them is feeling. Assess games, assess the emotional state. Eze has played more games, more minutes than ever at this time. He's played, I think, 22 out of 28 games or something like this. He's never played that much football, so we are on a good track. That's what he says. Coach, what do you make of this? Ebere Eze out 3 games. Arteta says it should not be a reason for anybody to panic, but that the player himself has played too many games.
Look, when Eze was bought to be an Arsenal player, one thing that was very clear is that he was coming to compete for his position. But one thing too that I don't understand about Arteta. When the man came, he sat on the bench. When he got his opportunity, he took the bull by the horn, and then he dominated. Having said that, when Odegaard came, virtually he got him to be playing in the number 10 role, and you could tell from the way Arsenal set up as a team that he was playing in the role of Odegaard. Odegaard, yes, we all know he's the captain of the team, and naturally at this level, once your captain comes back and he's fit, and you give him the chance to prove his fitness, and he proves that, he starts. And at the end of the day too, don't forget, when Odegaard came back, Eze needed to do the job against Chelsea. He didn't do the job there. Remember, we did the game.
I think it was Aston Villa. Was it Aston Villa game that it was Chelsea that he played him out wide and took him off after 45 minutes? And
no. He didn't do the job at Chelsea. He didn't do the job too at Villa. Okay? And then on both occasions, even in the Chelsea game, he brought on Odegaard, and I was happy that he had both Odegaard and Eze on the pitch. But that was a risk he needed to take. But immediately they equalized the goal, he took off Eze. Because he felt that he had another creator on the pitch, and therefore he needed to keep the balance of the team defensively. But I don't want to believe that Eze is in a direct competition with the captain of the team. That is a battle I don't think any player will win. Unless the captain is having an awful day. For example, most people think that Kobe Mano is battling with Bruno Fernandes. It's not the battle he's going to win. Because Bruno Fernandes, by far, the statistics are there. Not only in the Man United,
literally
in the league.
Literally the most durable player in the league.
In the league. He's creating the most assists. He's giving the most forward passes. He's doing everything.
And the one that never gets injured.
There you go. So the point we are making is that Eze will now have to take the bull by the horn and wait for his chance. What he needs to know is that at the end of the day, when the opportunity is given to him again, he should remind everybody how good a player he is. Because I'm not sure in coming to Arsenal, he think he was going to walk straight into this Arsenal team. Maybe that may be his regret for not joining Spurs. Because yes, in the Spurs team, I think he would have walked straight into that team and be an automatic starter. But at the end of the day, he needs to accept and then compete. I know where the English media are going. It's a World Cup year.
Yep.
And they think that is one of their players
who should be getting playing time.
Yep. Because when he's in the England national team, he's a player they can always call upon and rely on. And he's losing the battle to what? Another player from Norway. But hey, the Norway guy is the captain of the team. And it will be very difficult. Normally, as coaches, it's extremely difficult not to have your captain on the pitch.
And if anybody's noticed, Odegaard has played with a lot more enthusiasm in the last 4 or 5 games.
Because he now sees that.
No, I don't know.
Which is factual.
And even I don't even watch that many Arsenal
Before
matches.
he went to an injury, his stream was a bit shaky. But after he came back,
it came to a time he was very comfortable in the position.
Yep.
Whether he plays his best or not, he plays.
Right now, he's taking shots. But now, he's risking more passes.
He scored last week or in midweek.
There you go.
Against Brighton. And you can clearly tell that Eze himself is aware. I say Eze. Odegaard himself is aware that if he doesn't play well, and Eze is supposed to come into that role, and he comes and he plays well, and does the job, Eze has the English media, and they will come for Arteta if they feel Arteta is not being fair. So I'm sure it's something Arteta himself might have spoken to Odegaard about. That you are my captain, and it will be difficult for me to turn my back on you. You got injured, so naturally you were not available to be picked. Now that you are back, the one who was playing in your place got a hat trick, got a couple of assists. His impact was clear for everybody to see. Because you are on the bench, when things are not going on well for him, I can pull him off and throw you in there. But as the captain of the team, once I throw you in there, you should be the first name on the team sheet. But you need to justify that with quality performances. And like you rightly said, since Odegaard came back, the intensity with which he's playing has changed. How direct he's been with his ball distribution has changed. And how busy, let me use the word busy, because you know that he's that busy player. Give it to me, let me give it to you. He's always on that because he knows that there is competition for places in Arsenal. So I don't want to dwell too much on what Arteta said, but my only advice, if I've got one, would be to Eze. He's a quality player to have on the bench, and therefore he should tell himself the sort of comfort zone with which he used to experience at Palace. At Palace, whether he does well or not, his name was still on the team sheet. Now the terrain has changed. And therefore, he will definitely need to up his game, work a bit harder, go with intent, put a proper intensity to his play. You know my problem with him, isn't it? Overly very relaxed, overly composed. It's good to be composed.
But sometimes you need to
to edge it up a bit. You need to raise it up a bit. And I think if he can do that, then he can only become a better player. And then prove to Arteta that I should be the one in that number 10 role and not Odegaard. Occasionally against some other opposition, he may decide to play the two of them, Odegaard and number 10, and then of course Eze out wide left, for which we know his style of play will not take him to the byline. You only get him to cut in, and then the left back will have to give in the width. Something that I saw against Crystal Palace in that, I think it was the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
Yes, in that Carabao Cup. But again, that was an extremely very difficult game for them to navigate. And at the end of the day, they were able to win that game on penalties. So, yes, it's competition. Prove that you deserve the slot. And once you deserve the slot, he's got the media on his side. And I'm sure that if he can prove that he's got the slot, Arteta will be forced to be fair.
Now, Antoine Semenyo is also expected to feature in this game. His manager has said that he will feature in at least the next 2 Bournemouth matches before any jump will be made. And rightly said, the lineup I see here has him in the mix. And so, very interesting. Semenyo, Kluivert, Brooks, Evanilson, Tavernier, and then Scott. I don't know if it's the confirmed lineup because it's a little early, but that's what you have here. Coach, I think you've probably shared your thoughts. I don't know if it's on this platform, but how have you felt about this whole Semenyo off to City business? Because it wasn't just United. There have been other clubs interested in him. There are people who genuinely believe that he might struggle to break in. I find that's laughable, but maybe that's just me. But how have you felt about him making this next jump? And it's generally the ideal time to even do it.
To be honest with you, he's going to be coached by Pep Guardiola. But I foresee him going through the similar thing that Eze is going through. Semenyo is not going to walk straight into that Manchester United, Man City team. Truth be told, let's face fact. Because at the end of the day, I have said that he's a better player when he's playing out wide left. He's not going to brush Doku aside. It's not going to happen.
Won't Pep look statistically at both of their outputs and
yes,
say, this guy's numbers are better than this guy?
But at the end of the day, if you look at the way Man City play their football, Doku is a better fit than Semenyo. You see, Man City are always dominating possession. They are always in charge. So most often than none, the opponents that Man City plays against are always deep, low block, medium block. There's limited spaces in behind to exploit. You and I know that Semenyo is not a dribbler. He's a speedster. He's powerful on the ball. When there's space to be exploited at the back, that is what brings the best out of him. If you look at Doku in very tight situations has got the technical ability to free himself. You may argue that Doku's output has not been top notch. Okay? But you may also argue that in very tight situations, he's got the technical ability to free himself and bring other Man City players in the game. Semenyo doesn't do that. He doesn't have the technical ability when he's playing. How many teams will go low block against Bournemouth? Virtually no team will go low block against them. Every team would think that they can take Bournemouth on toe-to-toe. Then there is spaces to be exploited. Then you see the Semenyo that we all enjoy watching. But now when you switch camp and you go to Man City, and there's Rodri. We saw Rodri come back in midweek. There's Cherky. There's Bernardo Silva. There's Phil Foden. There's Erling Haaland. There's Mamouche, who's struggling to get into the team. There's Doku. Then there's a lot of guys. There's Savinho. Okay?
You mentioned Cherky.
I've mentioned Cherky already. Oscar Bob is leaving the team. Maybe that has created a team space for Semenyo to walk into. A team space, not a starting space. So these are the dynamics you need to look at. But at the end of the day, he'll be given his opportunity by Pep Guardiola. The question is, how would he take those opportunities? If he maximizes the effort, stake a claim for himself, why not? Pep will put him in there. But I am still of the view that if you look at Doku and you look at Semenyo, and the fact that Man City are always playing against, look, about 80% of the team, when they play against Man City, they go low block. They limit the spaces in behind their back line. And if you watch Man City play, their most influential player, the player that mostly gets them out of that low block of the opponent, is Doku. Doku is the only Man City player who takes on players or opponent players in low block with his low sense of gravity, his good technical ability. Yeah. You may argue, like I said earlier, that his final ball most often
can be suspect. Yeah.
But he gives a lot in recent times. Pep Guardiola has actually highlighted how good he's been for them.
Yep.
How very good he's been for them. And I think he's the one Semenyo is good because Semenyo plays most of his games for Bournemouth on the left. And that is where he's going to fit in. As for those guys in the middle, the Bernardo Silva, the Rodri, the Gonzalez, the Foden, those guys, he cannot fit in that.
I think he can play on the right if they let him, even though it might not be his, because that's the most clear path to a first team spot.
Exactly.
Bob leaving, Savinho not good enough.
But the way he's playing now, he wants to maintain his midfield balance. He plays the midfield and then he plays Cherki on the right.
And
Cherki's form right now has been incredible. So I don't know if he can challenge it. I think he has a better chance against Doku than Cherki, to be fair, in his current form.
You understand? From the way he sets it up, Cherki is on the right. But when the attack system is in motion, then he drifts in from the right into the middle.
I don't think he does defensively in midfield. Like as in
no,
in terms of the shape. So when they need to defend, Cherki's out of it. But then attacking wise, he can.
You understand? And look at Cherki, technical player,
fantastic,
low block. He sees the pass,
can dribble out of tight situations, can do everything. Dribble. Can do everything actually.
Semenyo cannot do that. He doesn't do those things. So for me, look, I would have preferred a Liverpool,
Spurs,
a Chelsea,
maybe
a Manchester United. Most people think that if he had gone to United, he's going to be playing as a left wing back. That is not true. That is not true. This is a team crying for quality in depth. The Manchester United team. I just took you through some few minutes ago how their bench looked like. I'm not saying go and buy Semenyo, go and put him on the bench. But with Semenyo in that team, there could be proper rotation. And once you grab your opportunity, because the opportunity will most often be there for you. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, look, he will obviously get the move to Man City. I want him to go there and succeed. But as I sit here today, I don't think it's something I can stampede and say he will go there and he will boss it. Because I believe that from the way the Man City plays their game and the fact that most opponent will sit off them, invite them onto them, is going to limit the spaces in between. Look, the goals he scored against Liverpool, there was a huge gap for him to exploit.
The two run through the middle of the park.
Through the middle. There was a day we watched him score 2 brilliant goals here. Look at where he started his move from. Look at the speed with which he had to arrive in the box. These are things that penalty against West Ham.
It looks like that. The player is pleading innocence, but let's do.
I think West Ham themselves should have had a penalty. So there was a time where Samavill was.
No, I don't think that was a penalty.
Referee says
the one that
referee made a gesture that says he's listening to his backroom.
Oh no, but he's given the penalty, so I think he's listening in case. I don't think he'll overturn it.
It's a penalty.
You look at this again.
Oh, that's a bad first touch. And that's
come on.
It's a foul.
Raise his hands like he had no idea what.
He didn't touch the ball.
I think his argument is we were both going for the ball and he unfortunately hit him.
He went for it in the wrong area of the pitch. When you do that in this type of situation, I think that most often than not the referee will take a penalty.
No, it could be overturned. If he touched the ball first, because from what I've seen, I think he touched the ball. The trajectory.
It's very hard. It's very hard to pick out
with the trajectory of the ball. Did the ball go into his direction?
You are nitpicking. That's the point I'm saying.
I think his foot is. I think that.
It looks like one of those decisions that it can go either way.
It was the Wolves player.
The Wolves player, you can see it from his foot. It's a penalty. But it's also one of those decisions where I think you should look at the overall impact of whether it was a foul. I don't think if he
should have been smart.
He
should have been smart because where was the Wolves player going? Yeah. He was virtually touching the ball into the West Ham crowd.
And for the
yeah, I think he made his decision.
He was touching the ball into the crowd of West Ham players, and they would have dealt with it.
It's a bit like the Konate penalty, if you remember, against Leeds.
Exactly.
There are certain moments where you don't need to commit as much in the box, especially when you can give away a penalty.
I think the penalty stands.
Well, the penalty stands because their main thing is that is it a clear error and needs to be overturned? And I don't think that was a clear error.
Well, Huang has missed 2 of his last 5. There he puts it away, so it's 2-0. Huang Hee-Chang creating the first, scoring the second, having himself quite the game. So Wolverhampton won't just lead West Ham United by 2-0. 30 minutes played. Still lots of football to be played. But
West Ham, they are not a serious team at all.
They I don't know, but they have the feels of a relegation team about them.
I don't know.
I don't know if it will happen, but they have it. They have it.
Immediately without delay. I mean, the windows is open, so they should be bringing about 2-3 players.
No, but their recruitment has been poor. The amount, the money they spend on certain players, 40 million for Somerville. You don't sign a striker, you bring Wilson for free.
And then they got Fulkrug, right? And now Fulkrug is gone on loan
to AC Milan. And and they have a Brazilian boy they bought for about 40 million. I don't remember. I
think 2 days ago, a day ago.
I mean, they've bought some new players, but they have a Brazilian boy they bought in 2024 who has just
not really been in the team.
I think they bought a striker from Italy.
Yeah, they've tried it. I think they brought in 2 new players. But the problem with West Ham is they are not playing good enough football, which is just as basic as it is. It's not even about the quality because they have good enough players in their squad. This is not necessarily one of the 3 worst teams in the Premier League, but they just don't play. They haven't been able to find that spark. And the thing is, I'm starting to think it has to be the recruitment.
That's why if you get relegated, it will even be more painful because you look around your team and you have the quality that ideally should have you comfortably in mid-table, but your players or the output of your players is just inadequate to get you to where you need to get to.
It's just Paquetá. They have a player of the quality of Paquetá.
Paquetá should have been moved on a long time ago. It's
clear. It's a shame the betting thing came when the Man City.
He doesn't want to be there. I don't know why they are holding on to player like that.
Was it last window where there was a move that he was going to Man City and then he scored a goal and he kissed the badge? I think he's
Brazilian. There might be a way to finesse them out of more money. I'm not sure how that works, but I think they need to move on from him. They need to look. The secret to quality football, I believe, is 80% recruitment. As for coaching, the coach is there to guide you tactically and some of the things. But if you get your talent pool right, especially in a league as tightly competitive as the Premier League, I don't think other things will save you because you don't have tons of money like that to spend. You have over £100 million. Buying all kinds of funny players and then come and suffer for it. I don't know.
And when they had David Moyes also fits in that manager mood. So when Moyes was there, Moyes would bring in some of the players that he wants. So players like Souček, there are certain players that you can clearly tell these are the players that Moyes was integrated. As soon as they lost Moyes and they had to rely on their recruitment system, the managers that have come after him, Potter, Lopetegui, and now Nuno, none of them have been able to get these same players who are also now an amalgamation of all these different coaches. In fact, this coach comes, he buys 5.
That's why you can't really even blame Nuno because I feel like this is barely his team. Barely his team.
I mean, he's trying to bring in Adama Traore, which is his too. I don't know why he takes Adama everywhere, but he's also trying to.
Is that a thing?
I mean, I know he went with him that was one of the problems when he was at his previous club. I'm struggling. Was that Forest? Yeah. So when he was at Forest, one of the sticking blocks when he with Marinakis during that whole summer split is he wanted to bring in Adama Traore, but they wanted to bring in I think Omari Hutchinson or someone else, and
became
but he also needs to start bringing some of his players to have his own identity because this is just a bunch of players that have come together and there's so many different managers and they've sold some of their better parts of it. So they have Paquetá and Bowen and I think that's a good enough those 2 players. Maybe Somerville can chip in. They also didn't replace Kudus well. They sold Kudus for a lot of money and didn't bother trying to get a new player to come in.
This has been it for them. And anyway, let me read a few more messages that have been coming to YouTube. Has Redeemer Salom says, I think Semenyo should have gone to Liverpool instead of City because he might struggle to get playing time there. Also says that Odegaard is performing well since his return from injury, and the competition is fair between himself and Eze. Okay, so I think that's well articulated. More messages. Gios F1 says that it's Ken inside Identity. I now understand why someone said Tria last week. Even Boli doesn't understand the Chelsea project. Semenyo shouldn't be in this poorly managed team. Okay, I think somebody said Semenyo could have gone to Chelsea, but Chelsea have a glut of Semenyo type wingers in their team. Only that he's probably a better finisher than the other players that they have so far. So that's the word. Let me take a quick detour around Europe and give you an update on some of the other matches happening elsewhere. Like I said, a lot of the other teams have come back from their Christmas break. So in Spain, there was a game between Celta Vigo and Valencia. Ended 4-1. Heavy defeat for Valencia in this game. There's currently a game happening between Osasuna and Athletic Club Bilbao. So again, you look at Osasuna, you look at Bilbao, and Inaki Williams is back in the mix. So fully fit and starting games once again. Hopefully he can get on the score sheet. Elche will play Villarreal at 5:30, and then there's a derby, the Catalonian derby, Espanyol visiting Barcelona, or Espanyol inviting Barcelona over to the Cornelia El Prat, I think it will be. When you go to Serie A, Como and Udinese played out a close game. 1-0 is how it's ended. Como taking off 3 points on the day. Genoa up against Pisa. It's 75 minutes played in that game. It's 1-1. You could talk about Sassuolo and Parma. It's 1-1 in that game as well. Same amount of time played. Juventus up against Lecce a little later at 7:45. If you like your drama, if you like your tactical masterpieces, the man will be playing against his former club, Atalanta versus AS Roma. So Gasperini will take his AS Roma team back to Atalanta in what should be a good game. When you go to so we nearly had a third goal.
What a save.
Looks like there have been some heroics from Alphonse Areola. Let's watch a recap of this. Once again, Areola has really changed. He doesn't even look like the same guy anymore. So cross in. Is that a Rocco Dare? Should have scored that. So cross.
He's claiming that his shirt was being pulled.
It was actually. I saw a slight tag on it, but still think he should have finished that chance. Headed the ball really straight at the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper. That's a good reflex save actually. So it remains 2-0. Wolves are threatening to bury West Ham. So Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been struggling for the longest time, all of a sudden look like they can pip their rival. So AS Monaco versus Lyon is happening today. Should be a good game. Ghana's Mohamed Salisu was in really good form in about the last 2 months of 2025. Hopefully he can carry it forward into this year. Nice up against Strasbourg. Liam Rosinius Strasbourg, the man who is wanted by his Chelsea employers. It's also Lille versus Rennes, which would be a good game. So there are those to talk about. Let's talk a little AFCON because we have 2 matches to play today. And then I'll read more messages before we start winding down here. Senegal versus Sudan is on the cards. That game is at 4 p.m. So very close to kickoff. We are just about 20 minutes or so from kickoff. Lineups are out for this one. If you look at the Senegalese team, those who have more popular names, Edouard Mendy is in post for them. Crepin Diatta is a right back again today. Naturally a winger. Abdoulaye Seck and Musa Niakate are the centre backs. Ismail Jacobs completes the back four. In the middle, my good friend, the anchor, the evergreen Idrissa Gana Gueye, locking down the midfield for them. Habib Diarra and Papa Gueye will be his midfield partners. Up top, I like it. Sadio Mane, Nicolas Jackson, Ismaila Sarr. That looks like an AFCON winning trio, if you ask me. Sarr, Jackson, and Mane. When you go to the side of Sudan, Monged is in post. Shedi Balan and Mustafa Kashom as well as Mohamed Ereng make up the centre backs, and then Bakit Kamis is the left back in this one. Kidir and Abdallah, as well as Amar Taifor make up the three men in the middle. Mo Aisa, Mohamed Rahman Abdel, and then Amir Abdallah also making up Kwesi Appiah's team. 4-3-3 is how Maele does this one. Coach, how does Kwesi Appiah go about trying to orchestrate what will be a huge tournament upset if he can do it?
I think tactically he will know exactly how to go about this game, but it will come down to the players themselves. Do they have what it takes to go out there and execute the job? That is what I think they will be lacking. They know the Senegalese team. Don't forget they were in the same World Cup qualifying group. At a point, Sudan was topping that group, only for the true reality of the two teams to be put to bear. We all expected when the draw was made that Senegal was going to qualify. So at the time when they were more or less not topping the group.
Third. That's a third for Wolves.
Oh,
wow.
So the man who got the penalty has made it go number 3. Wow. Yes. He looks really good in that team.
He's been doing
Wolves
so
look
well.
good. This is a 3-0 in the first half. Unless West Ham are that bad.
Rob Edwards is over the moon. Like, he can't believe his eyes that they are 3-0 up. Areola looks like he wants the ground to open up. If you concede 3 goals in the first half, you don't know. But there's been another goal as well in that Brighton and Hove Albion game. Jorginho Rota has given Brighton the lead, so they also lead by 1-0. Let's just see this go again, and then I'll come back to coach. So
Look at the defense. What sort of gap is this?
Oh, that is a brilliant goal.
But look at the defender. Is he blocking the ball or what? I mean,
man.
you've closed him down.
The first touch,
the
first touch was sweet.
And I see it. It's a very.
Look,
I mean, it's West Ham.
Look. Is it defending? What is it? What is it doing?
Turning his back to the action.
What is he doing?
Players do that a lot these days, and they have been rightly punished. I always say that if you play,
go to the scene.
Yeah.
Stop the ball.
Yeah. Rob Edwards he's definitely.
And I mean that's the beauty of football. Things can change immediately like that.
Look,
you have one good result too.
The bearded Esprinto.
Charlie, the man is in deep thoughts.
You can see.
He rushed back to the job. I get that he was upset with the way things ended at Nottingham Forest, but to get back to, and the first job he took was West Ham.
I wouldn't say he rushed back to the job. What I would say is that maybe he should have assessed the
West Ham.
No, I think that's what I mean by he rushed. He took the wrong job at the wrong. I mean, he took it at the time that it was right, but it was the wrong job for him.
West Ham is a big team in England.
It is, and they pay good money.
That's
the thing.
And more or less, most of their coaches are backed, supported by the.
I was about to say that they'll give you decent transfer money to spend.
I'm sure the promises was what might have led him to take up the job, and so far. Today is on the 3rd, and I think they bought him a player or two already. Two players already. So give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he will definitely have what it takes to save them.
Well, it looks like they can start that battle now. It looks like they can get a consolation. No, Wolves have been really impervious in this game.
They are not even committing men forward.
No, They've basically played on the counter the whole game, and they have a 3-goal advantage. So this is as good as a game plan gets if you are a manager in that type of situation. But
exactly.
So
I was talking about
Sudan,
about the tactical. I have no doubt that Maele will have exactly what it takes to map up a strategy to play against Senegal, but to come down to the players themselves. Do they have what it takes
to execute
to execute the job? Because at the end of the day, we all know the quality that the Senegalese possesses, and if you are playing against a quality opposition, you need to get them to work for the ball when they are not on the ball. Had Sudan the ability, the players, to force Sadio Mane, Ismail Assar, Nicola Jackson, to begin to worry when they don't have the ball. That is what it will come down to. And at the end of the day, if they are able to do so, I don't expect them to be afraid of them, because they played them in 2 legs. In over 2 legs, Senegal didn't win both legs. Senegal won one.
Yeah.
And I think draw lost.
So
the
they're actually a team that have not been easy for the Senegalese at all.
So it's the knockout stage. We all expect Senegal to win. So if Sudan were to win, that is where the story is. That is where all the journalists on the continent will look at it and begin to say, wow, what a tournament shock. But I'm talking this way because I think if they were to beat Senegal, it would be a very, very huge tournament shock because Senegal is one of the favorites to go on and win the tournament. So, yes, I could see, he has done something that the people of Sudan will appreciate, they're proud of. But again, anytime I talk about Sudan and I talk about, I talk about Sudan, I talk about Angola, the more angry I get. I get so angry, I get so angry at Otoado, at Ketukreko.
All over again.
All over again. Because where is Angola?
Yep.
They're gone.
Gone.
Sudan most likely will be gone by the end of today. Most likely. And Sudan themselves are in this round. They've not scored a goal. The only win they had was an own goal. The only win they had in the entire tournament was an own goal. And here is the team that virtually put 2 past the Black Stars. Drew with Ghana goalless in Accra. Beat the Black Stars away from home. 2-0. It could have been more. So you look at what our people have done to us. The more you think about this thing, the more you want to ask yourself, how poor and worse could it have been? You understand?
Yeah. Because
this Angola and Senegal virtually prevented the Black Stars from qualifying to the AFCON. Prevented the Black Stars from qualifying. I remember on both occasions, Otuado was taught some coaching lessons. Remember after the first leg, he just bragged that they will see what will happen to them in the second leg. Went in that second leg and were a complete disaster.
Don't talk to me about Otuado.
We're a complete disaster. And some of us have been saying this every time we've gotten the opportunity to. He's not good enough for the job. You cannot. You see, if the man couldn't allow us the opportunity to assess him at the AFCON, so we'll lift our team with him straight to the World Cup.
I don't typically support
straight to the World Cup.
Government interference in teams, but look at Gabon and Angola. Gabon as a state have been furious with how their national team has performed.
Exactly.
Especially based on how much resource they've poured into their national team. They've been upset.
To whom much is given, much is demanded.
In fact, the sports minister and the president have both spoken. And the president says that the performance at the AFCON is completely shambolic and a complete disgrace.
Unacceptable.
And cannot be a representation of their country.
Exactly. Exactly. And at the end of the day, people were there and then they couldn't take any decision and all that. And look at where we find ourselves. Virtually deprived a proper opportunity to assess our team. To assess our team. Who does that? Who accepts that? Who just look at that and turn a blind eye on that? No serious country will do that. No serious country to do that.
Let's talk about one more game because we don't have a lot of time. There's Mali-Tunisia also coming up at 7 p.m. That is a good game also. Lineups, I believe these are probable lineups. I don't think this will be set lineup, so I will not even bother to read them out. But I'll take thoughts and then predictions from both of you, and then we'll talk about some transfers that have happened quickly before we go. Quick thoughts on that game. Mali, the perennial underachievers, the perennial dark horses, up against Tunisia. And I always feel like Tunisia never gets zoned in as one of the strong teams on the continent, but they are a very sneaky team. Like before you know, they are in the semi-finals of the competition and they look like they can win it. Like that's the kind of team I've always seen them to be. But who wins this game and who has the edge for you?
I think it depends on which Mali turns up. In all 3 games, they have been entirely different. So the first game they nearly won, but then late equalizer from Zambia from Patendaka stopped them winning. So that was a game that they were in control of. The second game, they were trailing 1-0 and they had to come behind into the game. And the third game against Comoros is a game that they should have won. to make their qualification more emphatic, but they still managed to make it through to this round. Mali, and the thing that I think what's important is yesterday we were talking about it. At least in all 3 games, what they have shown is, I don't know if it's defensive solidity, but they prevented other teams from scoring. Morocco came into this tournament on an 18-game winning run. They stopped short at 19 when they faced Mali. And at least I'd like to give them some credit. They are facing one of the better teams in the competition. I thought that the strategy they could use is maybe if they could keep the game tight and win it. But coach was pointing out yesterday about how North African teams are far more, they seem more equipped when it comes to penalties or when the game goes late. So I think Mali will just be hoping that in this game, this is one of the games where they can come out and dominate. Yeah. But like you said, I think Tunisia are sneaky and they might go further. They do that, but they don't usually go much further in the competition, and that's my problem with Tunisia. Yeah. They don't usually have a lot to show for.
They've lost a lot of talent over the years. They are in a slightly worse situation than Egypt. Egypt have a few poster boys in Europe, but if you look at the Hassan Shehata times, Abu Trika, Hossam Hassan, Mido, and like how their talent was drying up. The only thing is that because Salah has become bigger than any of their stars ever was, and so it kind of eclipses the complete picture. But Tunisia have had a very similar situation. Like their big names have aged, and they haven't really, properly replaced them. I remember Youssef Insakni, who used to be one of their greatest players. They were bringing him to the AFCON and the World Cup at like age 35, 30 something. He was obviously past it, but he was so good they still had to bring him. Anyway, that's just about it. Let's finish off with some. Let me take coach's thoughts on that game and then we'll talk transfer.
Yeah, I think it's a game of equals because I'd say if you look at the way the two teams themselves have played in the tournament, you wouldn't say they've in the 3 games they've gone out there to establish a proper footballing dominance over their opponent. For the Malians, I've been a bit disappointed in them, especially going forward. They don't seem to show proper quality in the final attacking third. Too many indecisions. And at this level, in games like whatever they'll be playing today against, there's no second chance. You could have done that in the first group game. You could have done that in the second group game because there was a third group game to help you rescue the situation. This is a tournament where 3 points has been more than enough to secure a qualification to the next round. So the Malians had 3 draws, but they came second in their group to Morocco. And that is why they have found themselves where they are. The goals they've scored from the penalty spot. They virtually struggled to score more than a goal in open play. And against these Tunisians, they have to be. I think for them to win the game today, they need to score first. Because if the Tunisians were to score and the Malians were to be forced to go in chase of the game, I think they'll be punished big time. I really do want them to qualify. They seem to be very solid in the middle of the park. I think that is where they've got their most talented players are. But at the end of the day, it's not only about what goes on in the middle. There has to be a proper balance and transition from one department to the next department to the final department. But they don't seem to have the chemistry that run through all the departments and get them to go and punish. So for me, I'm a bit worried about their lack of goals. Because you've gotten to the stage where
you need to score or
you need to score. If you don't score, you push this to penalties. I hate when football games are decided on penalties. I just don't like it.
You think it's not a fair reflection of the game?
Yeah, at the end of the day, only one person technically takes the blame. It is a team sport. So I have always said that if we are to lose, let's lose as a team. And the best way to lose as a team is to lose the game from open play. But when the ball is put as a dead ball and I'm going to face the goalkeeper all by myself and I'm unable to score, at the end of the day, everybody is going to remember that you missed the penalty for us to get booted out.
That's why players
hate that.
And that's why players hate missing penalties so much, because it's like,
a typical example, the baby jet. So I would have preferred that Dominic Edier's header to have ended up in the back of the net. Then we would have won as a team. But once it was taken as and the Baby Jet flops his line, everybody, if he hadn't scored or if he had scored, would have gone to the semi-final. Agree?
Yep.
In 2015,
who
do I remember? I remember a free aqua, Franca Champon
against
and the goalkeeper, Razak. They missed those penalties.
Yeah.
But here is the player. Afriaka was voted the best player in that game, because he was able to match up to the physicality of Yaya Toure. Completely took him out of the game.
I miss midfielders like that
and all that. But at the end of the day, after doing so well in open play, we needed him to score of the first 5, and we would have won the tournament. So I hate it when games are decided from penalty shootout. I just don't like it. So I would wish that the Malians will go into the game as one of our West African neighbors, go in there, stamp the authority. It's not going to be easy. Because I look at the Tunisian team, they've not convinced me. Prior to the tournament, if you look at the way they navigated their World Cup qualifier, they were very, very convinced. I think they won the entire campaign without losing a game. Stand to be corrected on that. They won the entire World Cup campaign without losing a game. So at the end of the day, if they came into the tournament believing that they were invincible, I mean, they've seen their smoothness level, that they're capable of being beaten. So if the Malians will gather the belief, the confidence, and the fact that, look, they have to go, because the Tunisians will have more support on the ground. Don't give them anything to propel them to the next level. The Algerians are in the game. The Moroccans are there. The Egyptians are there. The Tunisians are there. You want to add Sudan already. There are 5 North Africans.
Yep.
Although Sudan is the weakest of them all in terms of football in history in recent times. If you look at the West Africans, there is Cote d'Ivoire, there's Nigeria, there's Senegal, there's Cameroon. Okay? There's Mali. Another 5. So out of the 16, 5 there. There's Tanzania from Central Africa, there's South Africa, even there's Benin.
Benin are still in the mix as well from West Africa.
From West Africa. Okay? And the West Africans have a solid chance of bringing the cup back to West Africa.
They should.
At least the last 2 editions have been Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire.
Should keep it here.
You should keep it here. The previous 2 was with Egypt and then Algeria.
I mean, sorry, no, Cameroon
and then Algeria.
So it's 3 out of 4 for
it's
West
3
Africa.
out of 4 for West Africa.
So it's been a good run.
It's been a good run. So we have to go out there. Now that, you see, when we got hosted in Cameroon, we won it. In Cote d'Ivoire, we won it. Where did if Senegal won it? Where did they win it? I've forgotten.
I think Senegal won it in Egypt. I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
You understand? Either Senegal or Algeria. Algeria was the one who won it in Egypt, I think.
It's actually a bit of a dominance, because even before Cote d'Ivoire, I mean, even for Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire won it the edition before that. With an all West African final, with Ghana getting to the final. So, and this is a contrast. This is actually interesting. Contrast to how much the North African dominated, with Egypt winning 3 in a row in the early 2000s.
You understand? So let's go out there and let's dominate these guys. So for me, look, I just hope. It's a game I would love to watch, and I'll be watching, and I want to see how the Malians. You know, physically, I think they will match up to them. Technically, they will match up to them. But it is their distribution in the final attacking third. How do they make the most important decision to impact the game? That is it.
So Crystal Palace have signed Brennan Johnson for a club record fee of £35 million from Spurs. He joined Tottenham from Forest in 2023. Was Spurs' joint top scorer last season and scored the Europa League final winner in May. Coach, why are they selling this guy?
I think he's a player who's not been treated fairly. I don't know what the thinking is. I don't know whether it is a move that the manager sanctioned, Thomas Strand sanctioned, because he's been one of their best players. until recent times, he's been one of their best players. Okay, I don't know why they signed Kudus, and all of a sudden their best player, goal scoring player,
the top goal scorer from last season,
top goal scorer, can't get a place in the team. Kudus's form has not been consistent.
New manager, new law, maybe.
There you go. Thomas Strand brought Mohamed Kudus, so Kudus will have to play. Because Bernard Johnson virtually lost his position to Kudus. Because he was the one playing at right when he was
right wing or right
wing.
Yeah.
Kudus come and he's in that position every week, yes. But I think team like Spurs should be having at least 2 players per position. And the coach should be tactically astute enough to make both players happy, because they are in the Champions League, they are playing the league. There's FA Cup to be played. So why would you sell him? Why would you sell him? I don't get it. But look, I think Crystal Palace has gotten themselves a fairly decent player, a player who individually you may not admire to be a very technical player, but as a team player,
tracks
and
back
his game intelligence,
and his game intelligence,
he will score you. Like you take your eyes off him.
So I don't get it. I don't know why.
I call him the far post specialist.
He's always there tapping the ball.
Just puts
His
the ball.
movement is
puts the ball at the far post.
He will put
Brendan
it in.
Johnson will be there.
So look, it's a move I don't come, because he's in my view good enough a player not to be sitting on the bench of Spurs.
To be
Just quick thoughts
to
before
be fair to that, I think they are just trying to cut back on what they did during the summer. So in positions you'd have played maybe the number 10, maybe out wide. They spent over 100 million on Kudus and Simmons. So if they see an opportunity, he's only started 6 games. So maybe on his part too, maybe he's also instigating for the move a bit more.
Yeah,
Spurs are just willing to take the money now and then maybe reinvest later.
I think so. I think they're also probably looking to balance out their books a little. Like you said, spent a lot of money in certain positions, but
it's a good deal. Good. I think it's a good deal.
Good for Palace.
Better for Palace than Spurs, but it's a good deal all around.
Well, that's it from us here. That's our show. Benjamin and Ketia. Yes. That's it from us here. Thank you very much, Manuel Kwache. Thank you very much, Coach Christopher Nimley. Yes, tomorrow we have more action going on, so we'll be getting into it. There's more football action, big games coming up tomorrow, so we'll come your way with all the updates from all the matches happening. Manchester City, Chelsea is our big one, so look out for that one, and then also scorecard a little later. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.